want to talk to you about what I call the King's Tax, or what it really is, a plan to destroy America. How is that going to happen, you ask? Well, we're going to talk about Trump's hidden tariff scheme. He talks about it, he enacts it, but we don't know where he's really trying to go. I see reporters saying, what's his ultimate goal? Is this leverage? No. He also is establishing his own private slush fund where he alone controls the money in it. And that's going to lead to the end of constitutional government. So sit down, strap in, and here we go. First, there is already a constitutional emergency that's unfolding right before our very eyes. What is it? He's ignoring court orders. He was ordered by at least 3 different courts to resume the disbursement of funds that were passed into law, appropriated by Congress, and then the president signed it. That's the way spending is supposed to work. He has partially done it, but other people went to the court and said, we haven't got our money. So yesterday the court turned around and said, you're violating my order. Every citizen has to follow court orders. And normally, if they didn't, that would lead to contempt. But who are you going to send to get anybody in the White House? That would be the marshals, and that's controlled by Trump. So, court orders out. Congress is already being sidelined, and we'll get into more of that in depth in just a minute. But think about it. All these royal decrees, which is what I call the executive orders, they're just going out. They aren't anything from Congress, right? Congress doesn't approve them. Congress has no say. So the only law they've signed is Lincoln-Riley Act, and I'm not making any commentary about it, but what else have they done? They're working on a budget deal. I don't think Trump cares. But let's go back into the topic of the video. So just to remind you, Article 1 grants the power to spend money to Congress, and it also gives it the power to collect money, whether it's income taxes, corporate taxes, tariffs. All that has to be appropriated by Congress before anybody can spend it. Trump is taking that apart and replacing it with only something dictators do. So the first step in that is creating a sovereign wealth fund. Now, that's a government-controlled investment fund where you grow national wealth. Look at the Saudis, for example. They sell all this oil, and then at the end of the year, whatever's left over that they haven't spent, that they've earned from all this oil, goes in the sovereign wealth fund, where it grows, just like your IRA, whatever your retirement account is. So you put in a little bit of money as you go, and then the investment grows bigly, as somebody would say. So Saudi uses them, Norway, China, and then they take that money and they invest in infrastructure and industries and global markets, okay? But you have to have a surplus to do that. You have to have something to invest, and that's why we've never had one. We have a deficit and we have a debt that just would not allow us to do that. How's he going to create one anyway? And do you remember, he's the only one that will control this. He doesn't need approval from anybody to say, I want money to go there, for example, to buy TikTok. I want disaster relief money to go there, but not there. That's his decision. He controls it. He's the sovereign in Sovereign Wealth Fund. How's he going to fund it? Well, one way is he can take U.S. assets, so say government buildings, national parks, monuments, the Washington Monument, and he can take a loan out against them with them as collateral, and then put that money in there and hope that it grows faster than the interest that he's paying for the loan. That's one way. What's another way that he can do it? Well, he can take the tariff money and put it in there, which kind of gives him incentive to keep raising tariffs. He's already said, okay, I put out 25%. If Canada puts tariffs on us, I'm going to raise the tariffs on them. Is he really raising the tariffs on them? Is he hurting them? Sure, because they can't export their products here as much. But is he getting money from them? No, he's getting money from you. In case any of you don't understand that, I'm going to explain it simply. I didn't want to drop it this time, so I'm going to pick something simple. Let's say that this USB light is $1. for you. So China makes the light. The person importing it, the importer, picks up the light and brings it to customs. Customs says that's $1, 25 cents please, because it's a 25% tariff. Pays the tariff, takes it on into the US and sells it to you, not for $1, for $1.25. And you say, well, China pays it. No. Who goes to China and gets that money before it comes here? Who goes to China? Nobody. When is that money collected? When the importer imports it. And then they pass the cost on to you. Do you think they can eat 25 cents on a $1 item? Are you out of your fucking mind? Anyway, so that disproves that lie that is continually told, or he is too stupid to understand. Anyway, let's just jump right back in. Now you know how tariffs work. And he has said that he's willing to raise them to 200%. So this dollar thing is now $3. Your soda can is now, I don't know, costing them $0.25 to make just the can. So you think your price is going to go up? You voted for him to lower prices, right? To have inflation come down. You understand this is inflation on steroids, way worse than it was under Joe Biden after COVID. So that goes in there. Now, he has said that he really thinks that it was great back when America, all of their income came from tariffs, and there was no income tax. So that puts all that money in his fund that only he controls, right? And that takes the power of the purse away from Congress, right? And that's the Constitution just being torched and stomped on Pennsylvania Avenue. He spends it however he wants because it's his money. He set up the fund that way. So if he wants to spend billions, hundreds of billions to buy TikTok, he will. When there's a disaster in a blue state, you gotta, I don't know, lift your sanctuary city rules and comply. You comply, you get disaster relief. You don't comply, you're fucked. If you live in a red state that is nice to him, you get all the money you want. He already said during the hurricane tour, well, all the money should just flow through us because FEMA is just a terrible organization. By us, he means the Sovereign Wealth Fund. So, how's he going to fund this? We've left one piece of the puzzle. If there's a surplus in the budget, that goes in there. And you say, well, we're how many trillion in debt? Deficit. Well, Elon's slashing and burning government. Slashing and burning programs. Putting out things that say you can't bid for contracts if you're DEI. All these things where they can control things. But the main thing is the slashing, burning, and replacing with AI. So that's how much? Cut off the federal spending that Congress appropriated and that the president signed into law and that they're just doing on their own anyway. A 19-year-old who was fired for leaking company secrets and then later said, on his Discord, I still have access to all their machines. And he's in the State Department, in the Department of Defense, and the Department of Treasury. I think he actually has an office in the State Department as a special assistant. I call him the Shitler youth. Anyway, so he spends the money how he wants. Congress has no control. They basically can rename post offices. Don't worry about things like the Gulf of Mexico because he'll rename that and Mount McKinley however he chooses. So he's going to come out and tell you, I gave you this big tax cut. You don't even have to pay income tax anymore. Screw that, no tax on tips. You don't have to pay anything. So you paid what? We'll say 15% of your income on taxes. If the tariffs are already at 25%, he said, hey, look over here, I'm doing something for you. Oh, this is terrible. The Chinese are doing that to you. No, he's merely shifting your tax burden from income tax that you knew from a tax form what you were going to pay to a tariff that he can say tomorrow, that tariff's going to 200%. And immediately, whatever comes from that country triples in price for you. Is that what you want? Because that's what you're getting. Let's take an example. You go to local market and let's say 24 pack of Coke. I don't know what the real price is, but we'll say $9.99. And then when you go the next day, it's $10.30. And you're like, why'd this happen? I thought prices were going down. Tariffs on the cans. Everything that's in your basket that's in a can is going to go up. Can deodorant in the can. Beer cans. Aluminum foil, sunscreen, all that's going up. And those are essentials. That's not something you can just say, well, that's okay. I'll be a patriotic American and not buy that. So, like I said, he decides where it goes. And you say, well, he won't do that. Oh, yeah? In 2018, he threatened to cut off fire aid again because he didn't like Gavin Newsom. During COVID, he said about blue states, let him flail when they asked for help. He's creating a permanent system to use loyalty tests to decide where money goes. So what's the end game? Elon Musk has a contract to maintain the AI system that will replace 75% of government workers, meaning decisions on your VA disability will be made by a computer controlled by Elon Musk that he will have a contract to maintain in perpetuity. Billions of dollars a year. Because somebody's got to maintain it, and it's his system, so. And then the government basically operates like either a corporation or a mob. It's up to you. So if you are elderly or disabled or sick, AI could decide, well, cost-benefit analysis, you're not worth being saved, just like the insurance companies do now. So now you've got two levels of bureaucracy saying, you're not worth it. And it doesn't matter to them because you're just a resource, a number. It isn't paranoia. This is happening. Everything I've told you about is real. Congress is going to be neutered forever because once all the income comes through tariffs and goes in a sovereign wealth fund, Congress is meaningless. I mean, they can pass laws, but about what? And you think, no, they can impeach him. They still have the power of impeachment. If he goes out of control, they'll just save us. What do you impeach people for? High crimes and misdemeanors, right? If Donald Trump is immune for every act that he commits in his duties, there are no high crimes. He's immune. There are no misdemeanors. He's immune. There's no obvious bribery, which is the other condition. He's immune. He can't be impeached. The courts can't stop him. Who's left to stop him? You. What's going to happen when you go out and try to stop him? Project 2025, which everybody hated, but is sure being enacted, has an answer for that. It's called the Insurrection Act. It means Trump can deploy military assets at home, domestically, for basically riot control. And he already said last time when he couldn't get protesters out of a park so that he could go hold a Bible upside down, can't you just shoot him in the legs? This time he's got a defense secretary that when asked if he would not give that order said, well, I was there. I saw the threat. Do you think protesters like me who was out there protesting last week with 50 stitches on my foot that we're not going to get shot in the leg? I got news for you. They are going to declare these protests domestic uprisings and use military force against them. So if you are protesting, keep it peaceful. Don't give them an excuse. If it gets to the point where it has to go past that, then we're in trouble. The only way to stop him, though, is an overwhelming, sustained, peaceful resistance. That way he can't use force to justify staying in power. So this is America's first dictator tax. Like I said, he promised you tax cuts, but you're going to pay even more every time you shop. It's the most deceptive tax increase in history because it's a, hey, looky over here, I'm doing something really nice for you. Let me pick your pocket. And it goes into his unchecked, unconstitutional rule. Congress won't stop him. The courts aren't going to stop him. The only check left is all of us. And by the time most people realize what's happening, it'll be too late. And the only way to stop it is wake the fuck up now. Now, if you agree with anything I've said, like, subscribe, you know the things. The link to my Substack will be below. I write about things like this now and then. It's new. This channel's new. If you hated it, tell me why. If you loved it, tell me why, and tell all your friends, share it. You know what to do. This is a 911 emergency. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.